What's going on, guys? It's Michael Pisco. Today I'm joined by Miguel Fonseca, and we're going to be showing you guys how to do a house wash. All right, Miguel, so when it comes to equipment, what do we need to take into consideration when doing a house wash?
And so in terms of equipment, something as small as a 2.5 gallon per minute pressure washer is already sufficient to provide the service. Now, ideally, I'd recommend at the very least a 4 gallon per minute pressure washing machine, just so that you can get not only the best, but also the most efficient processes of obtaining that result as well. Other equipment that you'll need aside from your pressure washer will obviously be the pressure hoses, which will connect from your pressure washer to then your pressure gun. And depending on how you apply your chemicals onto the house, you guys can actually start off in the industry with just using a 5 gallon chemical bucket, which you can batch mix by applying your chemical, 12.5% sodium hypochlorite, and then also a pressure gun. If you were to apply chemicals on the house wash with a chemical bucket, you could actually connect a tube from your chemical bucket to your pressure gun through what is called an X-jet. That will allow you to not only shoot water at the home, but when connected with that tube to the chemical bucket, it will actually apply chemicals simultaneously. In terms of a house washing chemical ratio, I wouldn't go anything higher than a 5% mixture, but realistically, when starting off providing house washing services, I recommend start at a much lower chemical concentration, probably anywhere between 2-3% even. That will allow you to kind of get a feel for the chemicals on the surface, how quickly it treats the organics, and then how well that end result comes about from a lower chemical mix. Work your way up from there.
Okay, and so what does the actual house washing process look like?
Yeah, so once you have everything set up and ready to go, a golden nugget that I would recommend for everybody is start on the worst side first. If you're able to start on the worst side first in terms of mold and algae content, that's going to actually allow you to use your hotter mix right from the beginning. And then as you wrap around towards the cleaner sides, you will actually be able to dilute your chemical mixture within the chemical bucket as opposed to going back in the truck and filling up with more chemicals. Because at the point of the cleaner sides of the home, it won't require that hot of a chemical mixture. So as you're starting on the worst side of the home, before even applying any chemicals, you need to rinse everything. And so quick rule of thumb, anything that you're not looking to clean around the area that you are looking to clean, make sure that that is rinsed very, very well, because these corrosive chemicals that we use, when in contact with a dirty surface, it will clean it pretty quickly. And so for the sake of avoiding any kind of potential discoloration on other surfaces around the house, make sure that everything is rinsed meticulously. More importantly, your landscaping. Once everything is rinsed very, very well, in terms of applying the chemical mixture, I would always recommend to start at the top. I would apply chemicals throughout the gutter lines and then work your way down on that siding. The goal is to get an even coverage throughout the entire siding, which will allow you to get an even end result. In terms of dwell time, that really does depend on the conditions of the siding. But realistically, if you're using a good enough chemical mixture, that dwell time should be anywhere between 3 and 6 minutes, absolute most. Now, a good rule of thumb with your house wash, I'd always recommend to do a test spot before getting started. Find an inconspicuous area, whether that's behind a bush or just an area that isn't seen often. Try out your chemical mixture at a smaller point within either a pump sprayer or even a little spray bottle to see how your chemical mixture reacts with that particular siding. Assuming everything comes out well, you can can now approach that smaller scale of chemical mixture that you just tested it out at a much higher scale within your chemical bucket. If for some reason the client wasn't able to remove those objects away from the siding, if it's something small, minimum, we'll move it. If not, if it's something that will really take a good amount of time for us to move everything around and be very cautious with their property, that normally ends up being an upcharge, which we assess to the client before even getting started. In terms of the house washing process, as you're applying chemical throughout an entire side, you're going to get chemicals on certain areas that don't really want chemicals to be sitting on very long, like windows. And so once you go to rinse the chemicals off of the siding, I would always start with rinsing off the windows very thoroughly, and then start from the top, the exterior of the gutters, and then work your way down, making sure that you're covering every square inch of the surface so that you're not leaving anything behind. But realistically, one of the most important aspects to doing a house wash is the rinse. And I'm not talking about just the rinse on the siding or the surface that you're looking to clean, but I'm talking about the areas around where you're looking to clean. Most notably, the landscaping, as there could potentially be a lot of very fragile plants like flowers, rose beds, things of that nature. When it comes to other surfaces like PVC fencing, it's actually a very, very similar process of going about, where you apply an even coating throughout the fence, potentially even a slightly less dwell time. An even rinse throughout everything will get you the end result that you're looking to get on a PVC fence cleaning as well.
So that is a general explanation of how to do a house wash. With that being said, Miguel has tons of tips and tricks when it comes to doing house washes that we couldn't fit into this video, but he's gonna be doing a full video on all the golden nuggets he's learned over the years, and you can find the link to his channel in the description of this video. I hope you guys got a ton of value out of this. If you did, make sure you like and comment on this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.